Day 2.
Yeah, day 2. Here we go. Thanks for taking care of all that sound and lights and everything.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
I loved how I just left everything up yesterday, so it was so easy just to plug everything in and get rolling real quick.
So fun to be doing this after all of our discussions.
I know.
Just a few minutes ago, you were saying that you had some reaction to the first video.
Yeah.
Right?
So the episode yesterday, I cut down into a TikTok, like a 30-second clip that we had talked about, put it on the Half Heart Machine TikTok. I just saw that it crossed 1,000 views already, and like,
really?
Yeah, so like people are commenting and like they're loving it already. So it's great to see.
Great. Yeah, I just love what you're doing there in Half Heart Mission.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm loving it. The community that we're building, and I got some fun emails today. I'm working on a partnership with the Ronald McDonald House in Ann Arbor, and so we're setting up a meeting on Monday to talk about the fundraiser that we're going to be putting on in July. So
that's really cool.
I'm very excited to see where that goes and how our partnership grows in the future.
I remember the Ronald McDonald House at University of Michigan real well.
Right. Yeah. I was talking to Mom about it the other day. How she was saying that she would stay there at night, and then my grandma would go during the day and go and sleep back at the RMHC because they would take shifts. Yeah. As what my grandma did for me back then is just just amazing, and it's just this amount of love that she had then is just, I'm not saying that she lost it, but just
yeah, that was just such a unusual experience. It's kind of one of those things that I used to drive by those places and think, hope I never have to.
Right, yeah.
I hope I never have to be in there.
Right.
And then it was like one day, like, oh,
we're here. Yeah.
Oh, this happened to us.
Right.
And because I think that your HLHS diagnosis was maybe 6 months into the pregnancy.
Yeah, it was early, yeah.
So discussions, and you know what's coming.
Right.
And then your dad found Beauvais at University of Michigan.
Right.
This was 20 years ago. And so, you know we're going to spend time at Ronald McDonald House.
Right,
and
yeah.
Boy, yeah, thank goodness for Ronald McDonald House.
Right, I know. And after hearing my mom talk about it, and that's where they stayed and stuff, I was like, and I've seen the charity, everywhere, like McDonald's endorses it, and like that's their charity and stuff. So like, I was like, well, at some point, and this was years ago, where I was like, I want to give back at some way. So this is what I wanted to do with my photography campaign, was I wanted to partner with them from the very beginning to be like, because I was working with Leverage Photography, where all of his funds are for adoption, the adoption agency. So everything that he gets paid is for charity. So I was like, I would love to do something like that with RMHC, just to bring my story into it. And now it's morphed into something completely different, where it's, well, now instead of doing it through the photos, I'm just doing it directly through my story with having Half a Heart. So
man,
I'm very excited to see how that partnership grows. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. How
often do you post on your Half Heart Mission TikTok channel?
We're trying to do like 3 or 4 a week. So I would love to do more, but there's times where I don't really feel like talking about it, because a while ago when I wanted to start this originally, I mean, I was too young, where I was like, I didn't want to make my whole life about it right away. And now I'm kind of seeing the importance of it, and I'm like, this is something that needs to be talked about, and that I want to bring awareness to.
That's really a good point, because earlier it doesn't seem like you would have been quite ready to really talk about it so much and focus on it so much.
Right. And now that
you're trying to kind of run away from it.
Right.
It's kind of,
And so we were talking yesterday how, like, it doesn't really define who I am, but like, obviously there are difficulties in it. So how do we balance that? Yeah. And now that I know myself more, like the limitations that I have and what I can do, I'm able to talk about it a lot better, because back then I didn't know what the episodes were, how to stop them. Yeah. And now that we know, okay, how to stop them, we've had a surgery to try to get rid of them. Didn't work. Yeah. Okay. And then
that was just like 6 months ago, right?
In December, So
ablation.
Oh man.
Because yesterday when we talked about the pickleball thing, that was really sort of because of a failed
It was because of a failed procedure.
Ablation, but
yeah.
not really. I guess it's just kind of the wrong area.
Right. So we were talking about the positivity behind it and like how hard it has been to stay positive after going through a procedure and it not working.
Yeah.
And being like, how do I not feel down about that?
Yeah.
Like, it went under for 6 hours, had a full week and a half of recovery, felt like crap the whole week because I feel sick.
Yeah.
I can't walk. And like, I just didn't expect I just didn't expect the recovery to be so difficult. But just trying to see the positive side of it. Because right then I was like, well, they're gone. They're not going to come back.
Yeah, that's what you thought for a while.
That's what I thought. And I was like, well, we've done it because they said there's like a 90-something% success rate that they're gone.
And those episodes, again, are racing heart.
Yeah, so I'll get very, very pale, and then my heart will race. And I mean, it only gets up to like 140 or something like that. And then, but the nausea is the biggest thing. So like I get
and sort of the confusion too, right?
Right. So I get very nauseous and dizzy and like, I don't know what to do with my body. It feels like I'm dying.
Yeah.
Like that's just the only way I've been able to describe it is like I'm trying to escape my body and it is the worst feeling I've ever experienced. And so having that happen while on a pickleball court in front of 50 people watching is like, and then going off the court and explaining it to 5 people while I'm about to throw up is like, it was just a nightmare. It's the only way I can describe it.
Life with HLHS.
I know, right? And like just trying to push the limits on it has its downsides to it.
Yeah. Now, is there just some discussion with the doctor there about trying it again?
Right.
Give a different zone to see if you can find the trigger area.
Yeah. So there's a different procedure that we can actually do where I don't go fully under for I was under for like 6 hours. Just because they actually have a map of my heart now, they can actually go in a different way. I'm not exactly sure what this procedure is called, but I don't want to give wrong information. But I know that there has been talks about there's different ways, there's different things that we can do now. So not really eager to get back into the recovery process and like the anxiety of waiting for a surgery. So we're going to hold out on that for a little bit. And because you don't want to put too much strain on the heart, right after another. So like just waiting on that just a little bit because it's not affecting my life every day. Yeah. Like if it was affecting my life every month, then we're gonna
do it.
Yeah, but since it's every 3 months still that these episodes happen, we're just gonna wait it out a little bit. So yeah.
This kind of brings up the thing that we've talked about in the past. But when you're younger, when you're a kid, and you go to the doctor's appointments, and it's your mom and dad that are discussing things with the doctors, and you're just kind of sitting there.
Right.
But then I'm not sure when that transition began where 17, 18, 19, where all of a sudden now the doctors are beginning to talk to you directly.
Right. Yeah.
And you're the one certain, do you want to have this procedure or this change or what about this medication change adjustment?
Yeah.
And now you're the one
we're
looking to you to make these decisions.
I remember when we first talked about the ablation, I thought it was a joke. I was like, well, that's going to be years down the road.
How old would you have been?
17 maybe. Yeah. And then I was like, that's years down the road. I don't even have to worry about that. And then I turned 18. They're like, hey, this isn't an emergency, but it could be nice to get rid of it. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want to do another surgery. And then 19 comes around. I only go there twice a year. So then 19 comes around and they're like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I think we should try to get rid of them because they were frustrating me so much with the things that I was doing when they were being caused.
How often were they happening?
Only about every 3 months.
Okay.
And it was pretty consistent. But there was also things that I was doing that was causing it. So not eating, being out in the heat, both of those combined while playing pickleball. I just keep bringing that one up because that was the most frustrating one I've ever experienced. Being on an airplane in the middle seat, both times that has happened. That before the pickleball incident, that was the worst one I've ever had. It happened twice.
The one on the plane?
Yeah, because I was on a flight to Florida, had it happen. I can't move. I can't go anywhere. I'm on a plane. And so I just have to drink water and I don't just try to get it out of my system. And the second one, I'm on a flight to Vegas. I'm in the middle seat, 2 people I don't know on either sides. We're 3 hours into the flight and feeling fine. And then that's when it just hits me where it's like, okay, I'm at 8 and 4 hours and it's hot on the plane. There's 2 people next to me And I'm like,
excuse me.
yeah, I'm like, I don't know what to do.
If I fall over, you're...
Yeah. So I'm trying to like discreetly deal with this without anyone being alarmed because we know how that goes and then medics get involved in it. I was just like...
I guess people do get alarmed.
Right. Because they're like, oh, something's happening with your heart. We got to do something about it immediately. And I'm like, I have to remind people, no, like this is something that I can deal with and get out of. And it's just the weirdest experience.
For a time there, you turning upside down or you...
Yeah. So the first method was I would put my head on the ground, like over the arm of a chair or an ottoman or something like that, and let the blood rush back to my head because I would lose color. And so that's how I would snap out of it. It was another way to stimulate the vagus nerve. It took a few minutes though. And when you're nauseous, the last thing you want to do is stand on your head and try to let things rush up out of and so there was another, so they're saying, he's like, hey, you know, you can only stimulate your vagus nerve in different ways, right? And I was like, well, how do we do that? He's like, you could just gag yourself. And like, it's disgusting and it's terrible. Like, it's gross to talk about, but like, it is instant.
So just put your finger down?
Stick your finger down your throat, and then it's like, it is instant.
Really? And
like, I can feel the blood rush back to my head, and then my heart will like I could just feel it like reset kind of.
Slow down.
It's like a reset button. It's so strange.
Wow.
But that's what I did on the plane, and that's what I did. That's kind of what I did in Cincinnati. The first one I had in Cincinnati, I gagged myself and got out of it. I was like, okay, I feel fine now. And the second one, I was too far gone that I just threw up everywhere. And but that snapped it out of it because it's a much more powerful motion than just gagging yourself and throwing up. So that really snapped it out of it that time. So, but yeah, awful things. It's not fun at all.
That's really so cool though. That because they have a technique.
Yeah, there's like a weird there's a technique because for a while, like the first few years we had it, we had no idea what to do because they were so rare.
When did they first begin?
When I was 9, I think. So we didn't even have a technique. I just had to sit there for like hours. It would be hours where I'd just be sick.
Is this a common?
No, I want to say it's a very low percentage in HLHS that people actually have these tachycardia arrhythmias. Okay. So I have atrial tachycardia, and then there's atrial fibrillation, which is a different kind. They're similar. I don't want to get technical because I'm going to mess it up, but I did meet a woman who has atrial fibrillation, and I went to the ER once because they thought my heart was staying in atrial fibrillation. So my sister drove me to the ER, and we got in there, and they're like, they did an EKG, hooked me up to everything, and they're like, everything looks fine. They're like, I don't know, because they had records from before, and they're like, of my normal heart rate, and they're like, this looks normal. So I didn't feel weird. Like I didn't feel out of it or anything. So I don't know what the concern was there, but they were thinking it was fibrillation because Ghazali had called us, my cardiologist, had called us on our way to the ER and was like, or before the ER and said, hey, you need to get to an ER and check this out just in case. Because they were pretty sure it was fibrillation, but then I got in there and it was normal and I don't know what they saw. So it's
never been fibrillation? Then?
So it's never been fibrillation. Yeah. So it's been tachycardia. Okay. So that's what we've been trying to figure out.
Yeah.
But now that we know it's tachycardia, these are the things that we can do to get rid of these episodes.
Man, I've a thing that I thought about too this morning was yesterday. We didn't really talk about the 3 surgeries that you had back when you were like the first surgery was when you were 10 days old or I think it was 2 weeks after something 2 weeks. That. But it had to be delayed for a bit because what was that condition that?
Oh man, I had my mom and I just talked about it too.
Yeah,
there was something right away that I had that I got sick with.
Something of an intestinal infection.
Yeah, that's right. It was intestinal. Yeah, and I got infected.
Sometime, and then they would say to it that when you were first born, they'd say now the surgeries are going to be scheduled within days, unless he gets right. And let's just hope he doesn't get that.
Yeah,
and it's like
and then we get it.
He gets it. Okay, and then so that delayed the surgeries for a while.
Right,
and then when you recovered, so it was. Yeah, I think it was almost 2 weeks before you were able to get that first surgery. What's that first surgery called?
The Norwood procedure.
Norwood, yeah. So Norwood at about 2 to 3 weeks of age.
Yeah.
Normally happens a bit sooner than that, I think.
Yeah. Most people can't survive any longer without because most of them have to be done, a few days after.
Yeah.
But there was something, I didn't have any other complications. So that it was just HLHS, because like there are HLHS and then lung problems or something like that. So that's why I could actually wait just a little bit longer, but was on a ventilator the whole time and stuff. So but wild. I mean, I couldn't imagine how that'd have been for you guys. Like just a wild few weeks and like
and also we couldn't hold you.
Right.
I don't know what the protocols are these days, but we couldn't. I guess because of infection risk, But so your newborn baby, you can't hold him or touch him.
Yeah.
That was really strange.
Yeah.
And then you have the Norwood procedure, and then you're there for about 6 more weeks, I think.
Yeah.
And then come home with all kinds of equipment and feeding tubes and. But when you're laying there in that hospital bed, I mean, you are so hooked up. I think you put a photograph on your TikTok channel. Of that.
It's wild to look at now.
And
just wires everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just, it is way too much for a newborn to have all hooked up. It's just.
And in fact, it was Norwood then when you're like 2 to 3 weeks, and then the next surgery. How old are you?
A year old.
A year old?
Yeah.
And that's the one we talked about yesterday. Was the
Hemifontan. The Glenn procedure.
The Glenn,
it's called.
You mentioned the Glenn procedure, and then the final surgery.
Yeah, 2 years old. The Fontan surgery.
The Fontan.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention the 3 different surgeries, and also when you walked onto the stages today, this musical, I called you Porta.
Yeah.
And that's because for so long you were connected to equipment and you weren't portable.
Right.
You just, and when you finally had all that stuff removed, and we finally were able to see you and hold you and stuff, we all talked about it's great, he's portable. And ever since then, our nickname for you has been Porta.
Yeah.
He's portable.
It's such an interesting nickname, but it's fun. It's growing on me now. It's funny.
Now with the TikTok channel, and this is something that you said yesterday, whenever you mention about what's happening there, it always is really interesting to me because it was sort of unexpected that you would get so much response so quickly.
Right.
And when you get response, the unusual thing about your responses are these are people who are really dealing with serious issues. I mean, this isn't like political comment or social comment.
Yeah, this is life and death issues.
This is life and death for individuals. I mean, it's very personal.
Yeah.
And it's the center of the universe for them.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
For people, and it still is for us.
Right.
But a little different as you get so much experience. But for people who are first going through these surgeries, and even the effects long afterwards, like even now you're still dealing with this tachycardia problem.
Right.
But so when you drop this YouTube or this TikTok channel out there, and all of a sudden, I mean, you're getting questions and comments from all over the world, and it's very serious conditions, and then you kind of had to determine how you were going to deal with that.
Right.
And this is what you mentioned earlier about were you ready to really have it be so central to your life and to what you were doing.
Yeah.
And you made the decision that you were, and so you've been responding to a lot of these people.
Yeah.
And you without you even telling us who these people are, just you've related some of the stories, some of the conditions.
Yeah.
And that's kind of struck us all a little bit off guard when because we weren't quite sure we were ready to have you focus on this. And, and so like in the last few days, I imagine you've continued to. Yeah,
so when I first started it, this is something that I didn't anticipate for, but it was the amount of comments that I would get of people's children passing away from HLHS. And just very, very heavy comments and very personal comments that I really appreciate people sharing with me. Like that is such a vulnerable thing to be sharing. And but it feels like it puts a little weight on me too, but like I'm happy to respond and give as much love as I can to these people, but like I didn't expect that at all. And like imagine starting this at 16 years old and then getting these comments. Like, I feel like I wouldn't have known what to do with it then. Like, I still don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, but
Like, they're very, very heavy comments. But, I mean, the amount of people that come behind and like their comment or comment back to them and say that they're with them and stuff, it's incredible to see. And the community that I built just on this little page of people replying to other people and like, it's
man, that's
so cool
good
to see.
you mentioned like contact by someone, a mother, I think, and you mentioned they just lost their 2-month-old, and and I think I mentioned this to you at the time, that when you have a grandson or a son or a daughter born with HLHS, you don't love them less.
Right.
You tie in so, I mean, you almost can't separate your identity from it.
Right.
It's amazingly personal.
Yeah.
And so it really is sort of the major kind of adjustment you're making is in this role that you kind of have in people's lives, or just as a one of the ways they can sort of share this and maybe try to dissipate the pain a little bit, just in the sharedness of it. And I've just loved some of your responses and the way that you've been dealing with that.
Yeah. Man, it's so cool because the community that I've built on there, I'll go and follow them because they're a parent of, and they're in the hospital right now, either waiting for a transplant, waiting for the Glenn procedure, and
there'll be people watching this, waiting for this.
In the hospital, and so I'll go and I go and follow them and check out how's their son doing in the hospital. There's not going to name who it is, but there's a specific one that I've been following from the very beginning, and they've been in the hospital since I started this 2 months ago, and just what they're going through, I just can't imagine. And so I comment on all their videos and try to keep up with them as much as I can. But then they'll do the same thing with me, which is just incredible. And I'm like, how do you even have the energy to be able to do that? But trying to shed some hope for them to show that it is going to get better. And but then we're talking about, we talked about this a little bit, how when these people comment and say that they've lost their kid, but they say that they're so proud to see, or so glad to see other people with HLHS thriving and stuff. There's a little bit of that survivor's guilt, and it's and it's just it's a weird thing.
I wasn't expecting you to go
there, But it's a weird thing to have. I didn't expect that at all. I was like, I'm just going to come share my journey, and people are going to be like, oh, that's great. But no, it's like, oh man, there's just this heaviness brought on with it. But I mean, I can't imagine doing anything else. It feels like what I was born to do, literally and figuratively.
That's a good way to put it. Wow.
So, yeah, man, it's amazing.
Survivor's guilt, yes.
Yeah, because there was another girl in the hospital at the same time as us, and she had complications with, I want to say, her lungs. At the same time that that she's having to go through these surgeries as well, she's having lung complications, and then I'm not having those complications at the same time. And I've talked to her before, and she goes to University of Michigan now, which is very cool. And so she's doing great now, but I know there's times where I get updates where she's back in the hospital for certain things, and and she has told me before she had to stop playing sports because of the heat and just getting too tired. And so I just want to be so grateful for everything that I'm able to do, and I post about that all the time, just the thankfulness behind it. I'm not supposed to be here, so just loving every minute of it is really what I've tried to shift my focus to, and bringing it around to the religious side of things. That's really how I've found such a good understanding with God, and just being just trying to show as much love as I can to people, and just trying to live that out in such a positive light.
Kind of that appreciation, that gratefulness.
Right. Yeah.
Just let that flow back.
Yeah.
One thing that we noticed too is that with you having the heart problem, really just the effect that has on so many people. And since we were with your other grandparents, we always call them the good grandparents because of the way that they covered time at the hospitals. So like the families kind of, in an unusual way, kind of blend and bind together.
Right.
All the grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and came around us during that time when you were born, and then you continue to share that journey together.
Right.
And it just creates unique conditions. Like we're much closer to your other grandparents.
Yeah.
And your aunts and uncles on that side of the family than we would have ever been.
Right.
Because continuing to have these surgeries together and the follow-ups and experiences, we just share it in common, share you in common.
Yeah.
And it's created a more intense, increased dynamic with more people than we would have ever experienced before.
Yeah. I'm so
with a normal kid.
Right. I'm so thankful, and I love that about our family is that
it feels like one big family.
It feels like one big family.
Big family.
Oh man, I can't imagine it any other way. I love that.
So that's some positive element that can be brought to this, and we're not making that up. That is true. That's what does happen. I remember when you came home from the hospital after your first surgery, I guess it was, that the extended family have come together and landscaped your mom and dad's house.
Yeah, yeah.
Just all those people just doing what they could to express their love. And so it's like the whole, it just, like you say, you don't love these kids less. It creates sort of a increased connection, increased love in relationships. And I mean, we'd be the less for it if it had never happened to us.
Right.
Too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing.
And even now, as you mentioned, God and religion and just the way that you've sort of had to think about it, it just deepens you.
Oh man, so much. Yeah.